So let's turn to the third lesson then in Unit 1, which addresses the question, what historical developments influenced modern ideas about rights? As you mentioned, historically, the rights of the individual were not nearly as important as the needs of the community. How then did the emphasis on individual rights develop?
Ancient philosophers could not have comprehended a discussion of politics that starts with the individual, because they assumed that we live in political communities, that it's living in a political community that helps us become good individuals or good humans. They accepted human interdependence. They knew that we had reciprocal duties to one another, that life in community required self-sacrifice for the integrity of the community. And we now capture all of those ideas in this notion of civic virtue. Christianity was probably part of the early challenge to classical republicanism by focusing on the individual's relationship to God or the Creator. Christianity eventually became the official religion of the Roman Empire, but by about the 5th century, the Catholic Church was the church of the Roman Empire, became a very potent political force. The church is hierarchically organized, and papal authority for spiritual matters sort of bled over to the crown's authority for political matters. The notion was that the proper interpretation of the Bible was through the Pope, not through individuals. By the 14th century, kings and queens came to assert that their authority also came from God. And so we have this very, if you will, top-down view of the source of political power. James I in the early 17th century coined this wonderful phrase that kings are God's lieutenant upon earth. Right? So although individuals were the focus of Christianity, the Catholic Church structure let the focus remain very hierarchical, that humans are subservient to divine will and kings are doing God's will on earth. The economic system of feudalism completely reinforced that hierarchy. Vassals lived on the lands owned by their lords. Yes, the lords owed them the duty of protection, but the vassals owned their entire life to working the land and serving their lords. So we have religious and economic, cultural arrangements, if you will, that serve a notion of divine right of kings and authority coming from God. Ironically, though, the focus is still on the individual.